I don't think it's an issue of blaming. I think it's a question of people resigning from their responsibilities throughout the political spectrum, and as well as in the financial sector. Today, when I started working on this project, the idea was a reformist agenda, and the idea was to put a plan to take the country out of really the terrible mess, financial and economic, in which we are. The government plan is not only about the financial sector, okay? The government plan rests on a number of pillars. Serious fiscal reform, serious monetary reform, i.e. changing the way we think about the foreign exchange and so forth. Serious structural reforms, electricity, revision of the budget, banking resolution framework, a lot of the things that really changing the way monetary policy is conducted, who's responsible for what, changing governance, and so forth. And of course, the financial restructuring. Now, what I realized after we've put this comprehensive plan, and I'm one of the people who assisted in drafting that plan, and I believe in that plan, suddenly we saw a number of things happening. We saw really to put it mildly, just a lukewarm support, in order not to say really no support from the government. That's on one side. Second, we saw attacks from the financial sector as a whole, including the central bank that is not agreeing with the diagnostic according to international standards. That diagnostic was confirmed over and over and over again, and we want to, between the initial attacks and the parliamentary commission that was created, which in my mind is completely off track, they basically they are rejecting the diagnostic, but in fact, a diagnostic is a diagnostic, so I stand behind that diagnostic. I think the IMF stands behind the diagnostic. They knew about the diagnostic even before coming. They've been telling the people and the political class about that for years, but no one wants to listen. But effectively, there is an intersection of interests. So you have the politicians, or the political class in general, that does not want to do reforms. Take the example of capital controls. Those should have been in place on October 18, if not even before October 17, yet we can't agree on what capital control looked like. So the political class didn't want to do, they really don't want to do reform. The banks realized that under any kind of scenario, they would not only lose the capital, effectively, anyways, they understand that the sector needs to be recapitalized. But that's not the issue. I think they realize that they will lose control of their banks, and that is something that they will not agree with, because a bail-in solution that is in the plan is effectively providing compensation for the depositors who will be hit by taking some ownership into the banks. Although, of course, in the plan, we do say very clearly that the current owners of the bank will have the opportunity to contribute into that, and therefore to retain ownership or some ownership of their banks. But anyways, we're not here nor there, so that's the problem. The third one is the central bank, that obviously that has a balance sheet that would be hugely affected by a devaluation of the currency and by a restructuring of the government debt. You put all these interests, they just got aligned, it's the alignment of stars, and they basically are trying to do anything to stop the implementation of the government plan. At the end of the day, the government already didn't provide a lot of support, but also at the same time needs parliamentary support in order to pass it anyway, because they don't have exceptional powers. So we're back to square one. I don't think anyone is doing their job, and that is the reason I resigned. I think literally no one is doing their job. Well, IMF would like to support Lebanon. I cannot speak on behalf of the IMF, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the IMF. The problem is that, which I understand, any lending institution, and the IMF is a last resort lending institution, would want to have some safeguard assessment done in order to make sure that the money that is provided to the country is accompanied by a number of reforms so that they can get their money back, right? Without reform, there will be no IMF program. So it's, as I said earlier, it's part and parcel of a whole package. On purpose, we put it in an appendix to the government plan. I don't think we have an alternative. I don't think we have a viable alternative that will unblock SED, that will unblock additional funding from the international support group. What we will see are going to be terrifying KPIs for the economy. You're going to see effectively not even a stagflation, but you're going to see hyperinflation. You're going to see a rapid depreciation of the currency, and we are witnessing it as we speak. You're going to see unemployment that's going to go up and up and up. You're going to see mass immigration. Wait until the airport opens and see what will happen. Things will go out of control. In the financial sector, you will see further what the same behavior that you've been seeing so far since October 17, and that is exaggerated every day, which is a derification of the depositors. That's what we're seeing. Look, I don't want to underestimate that, but let's not get into those geopolitical things which are way above our heads. At the end of the day, the region has been focused on, has been hit with a number of sanctions in the past. This is another series of it. It's not hitting Lebanon directly. It's not affecting Lebanon directly. No one in Lebanon is under that list of sanctions, not the banking sector, not a specific bank, not an individual. But anything that affects Syria will affect us anyway. So, for example, if we continue to subsidize the primary commodities, there's definitely, you're going to see more and more pressure on the use of the dollars of Lebanon, those little reserves that we still have left, in order to finance some of the economic activity in Syria. It will happen. It will continue to happen. We have open borders. It's very hard to control. So you will see that happening. There's going to be more and more focus. The eyes of the international community are more open on Lebanon as a result of that.